come from Telangana. It's not that because our minister is here, I'm praising this. No. Please give me the. I'll give you three, four examples of Bharat Biotech innovation as a startup. I was a startup in '97. I was not a big company. I was a startup from agrarian family. And at the same time, what Telangana government is encouraging the startup, what will happen next 5 years? I'll give a few examples of ours. And I think first new molecule from the world, typhoid conjugate vaccine, came from Bharat Biotech and that from Telangana. Okay? And after the separation of the state, the first new molecule came from Telangana, typhoid conjugate, first time in the world. And that has completed a human challenge in Oxford and effectiveness studies in 6-7 countries all over the world. And that speaks that the innovation can happen from India. Many people will not believe that because no Indian company copies. That's what the perception always we have in our mind. Please change that mind. It's happening differently now, today the world. And I'm telling you, chikungunya. We are now funded by CEPI, which is the phase 3 trial in Thailand, Colombia, and Malaysia, and the Philippines, and India. And funded by CEPI, and that will be the first vaccine in the world, again from Telangana. And third, Zika vaccine, first global patent in the world. Why I'm saying this one? We are the only company, as a startup, believed in the neglected disease will turn into pandemic in the future. And we've been working right from the inception of the company that any day neglected disease will be a pandemic, and we need to be prepared. So coming to my conclusion of the speech is very simple. And I think Telangana is well prepared to handle any pandemic in the future much better. We are also developing, a lot of other Indian companies are developing a lot of platform technologies. I predict that next pandemic, if it comes, it will be in the animal side on food security issues, if at all happens. If it happens, we don't want that, but if it happens, the likelihood is probably the food security will be another limiting factor which we should look at it. And I think as a manufacturers, as a state, I think we are well prepared than anybody else. I think you look at containment facility, biosecurity, containment, BSL-3 facility, only first one in the world is right in Telangana, right in Shamirpet, right in Genome Valley. That speaks that we are the first facility in the world. We have even better than Wuhan lab is only a lab. It is not production facility. So the first production facility is right in Telangana. I think we are geared up as a country, as a state. And as a state, and I'm telling honestly, I'm proud to say that in front of all the people here, government never interfered. They were there all the time. Even when I have some problem with the TSIC on some assigned land, they said, we'll come and help you. We'll help you. They came directly to us, I'm telling honestly. I'm actually, company people are lethargic people. I've seen one thing I'm telling you. Company people are lethargic today. Company people become complacent. And employees also become complacent. Yeah, if you push game, I'll leave this job and go to Aurobindo. And Aurobindo will push him, you go to Reddy Lab. So you people have taken strategy, but government is not like that. Government is sincerely committed to things, but I think as industry, we are still not serious a lot of things. And I think we need to get serious on issues, what is required, what happens in our organizations, what happens to our human resources, and what goes wrong with our human resources, our inefficiency, should be looked at very seriously instead of looking at the government inefficiency. And that is very important. And I think startup is an amazing strategy by the government has done. And I think we'll beat any state in the world probably in the next 2-3 years. And number one. Number three, I think people CII should focus on agriculture and food processing industry. Very important because we predict India is the only country can feed the world. And I think in that game, agrarian requires help. And I think we all want to be comfort zone in the 5-star hotel in Kakatiya and all that. That is what we are looking at it. And I think we need to look at everybody has got a CSR responsibility to help in agrarian community. This is only time in the pandemic, only agriculture has never grown down. It has grown up. And I think the Indian farmers have done a tremendous job to the country's progress. And I think we are grateful to all the Indian farmers of this country. What we can add value to the producers? How can we add from Nizamabad turmeric? How can we add value to that? And how can we export 20-30% of the turmeric to other part of the world so that the market price of turmeric can go up in Nizamabad? And I think we are all entrepreneurs, genius people. And I think you need to look at strategically and put small. If you can't do the business, you put your money into some startup who can do the job. It's not that you have to be selfishly do everything yourself. You can do with some other partnership. I think look at it, partnership is the only game to succeed, and I wish you luck. Thank you very much for giving the opportunity.
thank you, Dr. Krishna Ila Garu, for your kind this thing. Having worked with GSK and working with CIPLA, I can fully appreciate what you have said. And we'll continue work on agriculture, you being agriculturist yourself. So may I now invite Mr. C.K. Ranganathan to deliver the special address. Over to you, C.K. Yeah, please. Excuse me. C.K., you are on mute.
Thank you, Samir. Honorable Minister Shri K.T. Ramarao, Mr. Jayesh Ranjan, IAS, Principal Secretary, Government of Telangana, Mr. Deepak Ubagla, Dr. Krishna Ella, Samir and Vagish. Thanks for the opportunity. We are today living in a very complex and a competitive business world. The business, this thing, if you have to look at knowledge, strategy and execution more, it is what we are living in. Whether the company in a competitive environment, who is more knowledgeable, how do you harness the knowledge to convert into brilliant strategies? It is not just strategies alone, but how do we execute those strategies? Are we able to execute it flawlessly is a very, very important thing. So if we are masters in continuously harnessing the knowledge of the company, it is not accidentally sending somebody to some seminars and so on, but a very well planned knowledge, this thing, if we can enhance the knowledge of our own team members and also create a culture where free flow of strategies, free flow of ideas are able to come and able to execute it, I think we are game. And when it comes to the kind of this thing in terms of CEO's role, very leadership, very important thing, creating a culture that is how do you make the desirable cultures which will be responsible for the company's success, not only in India but globally. That's a very, very important thing. And leadership always, I think, is a very, very important role. Is this the COVID times? It has created a lot of challenges for us. I think we have emerged far more successfully. We are at the fag end of the pandemic period. This time I would like to say that leadership is responsible for developing active foresight. How industry will evolve, how competition will evolve. I think that's a very, very important role. And if you don't simulate that, and we will be caught by surprises. And that's a very, very active role leadership need to play. And also an important role, very successful organization across the world, the middle and junior management run the day-to-day, and top management, the leadership players, are mostly looking at only spend about 25 to 30% of their time in running day-to-day or enhancing, facilitating or solving problems of the day-to-day to achieve these short-term goals. And they are actively, most of the time, 70% of the time is spent in inventing the future. How do you invent the future? It is how you kind of this thing is able to prepare and invest time in creating a future, a clear plan, coming out with brilliant ideas. These are areas in terms of leadership need to focus. And while I was talking about culture, adaptability is a very, very important thing. How do we adapt in a very evolving, a very dynamic world? The challenges are many. I can say the way the digital challenges now, and if you don't embrace the digital technologies, you will be extinct. And that's very, very important. But many companies are thinking that, okay, slowly it will happen. But the competition is going to eat you away just like that. What was thought a digital technologies used to be an enabler, it's now a very core of a competitive edge. And that I think it's important that the leadership focuses on that. Being agile and nimble is a very important ask. And that is also, I think, would go a long, long way. I think we as leadership at the helm of affairs can constantly look forward to being very, very competitive and take India to the next level. I think we are very capable and we can do things. Last but not the least, I would like to also join Dr. Krishna in complimenting Telangana government. Our minister, honorable minister, I would like to say, because we are seeing across southern states and across India, Telangana is the one where least disturbances, lockdowns and other things, less restrictions, and most of the day, most productive days have come from Telangana government, and the industry is extremely happy. And thank you very much for that, Minister. Thanks a lot.
Tha-
So I conclude my speech. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Seekan, for your address and taking us through several aspects of leadership in this VUCA world. You absolutely said it right. Organizations have to change, and digitalization, sustainability, and being agile and nimble is the forefront. And you, as a leader for the industry, has shown the path to us. I would now request my good friend, Mr. Deepak Bagla, who joined us virtually to deliver his address. Deepak, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Samir. Morning, Mr. Minister. As you know, it's no longer a surprise that you have admirers and fans, not just in Invest India, but I guess across the entire global investing community. And I must really, completely, you really make us proud. And the man sitting on your right is an absolute, Jayesh is right there, he's a Pied Piper. Mr. Minister, whenever we have an investor and we send him a message at any point of time, you know, the kind of response we get, it is right there and immediate. And that sort of explains the leadership, the culture which you've set, and more importantly, the points of success which we are seeing already from one of the youngest states in the country. I must thank Mr. Ranganathan. I think the leadership point you picked up, Mr. Ranganathan, very critical. And we are seeing that. The leadership which we are seeing in the state is the cause of the success, and I'll speak a little about that. And Dr. Ella, thank you very much for the points you rose about innovation, about the global position of India, and especially so in the midst of this unprecedented lockdown. But I must say one thing. I actually believe that the role of the government can be that of a very strong enabler. It's not that the government doesn't have a role where it comes to industrial growth. And that's where we've seen the example of what is happening in your state, the leadership, the success points which has happened. More importantly, even if you look at it, I think today the case study of startups is now being looked as a case study across business schools in the world on how efficient, impactful policy making together with stakeholders can actually create magic. And Mr. Minister, I must tell you, the person sitting on your left, Mr. Goel, Samir, ever since college we knew he would be the one who would make us all proud, and he continues doing that. So congratulations, Samir, and thank you for the excellent work which you are doing for all of us, and more importantly, for getting us all together. And Mr. Dikshit, we look forward to hearing from you. But sir, now on some of the comments which I have. I know we've been through the worst of times, but there are also some of the best of times we can look forward to from here. It was brutal the past 24 months, but I think the time has come now to look forward. And now from the Invest India perspective, let me just share some thoughts. And especially on Telangana, because this is a place and a state and the leadership we look forward to as we are moving towards a $10 trillion economy by 2030. The GDP of Telangana today, sir, is about $170 billion. That means if I rank it globally, it's anywhere between 55 and 60 in the world, ahead of Kuwait, I must say, just catching up on Qatar, Hungary, and if I may just add and make it topical, just a little behind Ukraine as we speak. But I think this is a juggernaut which is now ready to propel and take forward its stake in a much larger way. In the Indian context, number 6, you are behind Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Uttar Pradesh, Gujarat, Karnataka. I must tell you, West Bengal is catching up very fast with you. But I'll tell you what is in the strength of Telangana as it stands. Look at the growth rate of Telangana, and if I look at it for the past 5 years, 2016 over 14%, 17 13.9, 18 again 13.9, 19 again ahead of 14%, 14.7%, 20 11.3% even in the midst of that lockdown. What am I trying to get at? If I look at even an average of what you've done over the past 5 years, and let's look at a little over 13%, we are looking at a GDP of close to $300 billion by 2030. That means Telangana will be adding, it's 450 odd billion by 2030. That means they'll be adding about $300 billion to the bottom lines and the balance sheets of all those who would be joining Telangana in this journey. And that's where I talk about the leadership which has been created there. Look at the ease of doing business rankings. A remarkable jump, one of the few states which has jumped from number 13 to number 3. And that explains the focus of the leadership to make that investor journey easier. In fact, and this is where I often tell Jayesh, and I compliment you, Mr. Minister, and your entire team, you have one of the most effective single windows in the country. When we were trying to create the national single window, which you know we launched just a couple of months ago, and CII has been helping us immensely in trying to get it going, we had some of our learnings from your single window. And hopefully, if very soon we can bring the national single window to the same level of efficiency as you have with you and pick up some of those points, I think India will be a completely new destination where the global investor community is going to be looking at it. So I really have to compliment the kind of efforts and initiatives which have already happened in Telangana. And we are seeing the results. I mean, be it auto companies, be it chemical companies, across the entire spectrum. Let me just give you a quick example. 30th March 2021, even in the midst of the most unprecedented lockdown in human history, we closed with an FDI of over $80 billion, the highest ever FDI we've got in our history. But what's interesting is, our FDI went up by over 10% at a time when global FDI decreased by over 35%. In fact, we were one of the few countries, probably the only one of the top 2 or 3, which moved its ranking from number 8 to number 5. But more interestingly, and by the way, most of this FDI came in the open route, which sort of explains that we are one of the most open economies on the planet. But Minister, what is very interesting of this time we got our FDI from 89 countries of the world. They trusted you with the future you are bringing into this country. And it came across 63 sectors. We have one of the widest, broadest base of opportunity which is today available in the world. And most interestingly for me, this time it came across 30 states and union territories. It's again getting broad-based. And the story of people who are leading by example and setting best example for other states to come up is Telangana being one of those. And that also explains the startup policy. Mr. Minister, one of the best successes from my perspective of our startup policy is not just the unicorns. You know, 2020 we had a unicorn every 30 days. 2021 we had a unicorn every 10 days. This year we've already had a unicorn every 5 days. But that's not where the story ends. The story is that out of 739 odd districts of India, today over 650 of them have a registered startup with the government of India. The new engine of growth of India, of the new India, is now ready to be bottom up, with a participation from each and every citizen of this country. And for that, we thank the leadership. And Mr. Minister, we thank you for setting best-in-class examples where we all learn from and help others. And here I also must compliment you and your team again. I remember when we were doing the startup policies for India and even the ease of doing business, we had paired states together to help other states which were more aspirational to come up the curve. And you had paired yourself with another set of states, and you've helped those states come up the curve too. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the new India. So Samir, thank you very much for getting me. I take it back to you and I end with these comments. But I really have to thank you and CII for the partnership they have had with us and the support which they continue to provide to take this journey forward. Thank you again, and back to you.
Thank you, Deepak. Really pleasure to listen to you, and really proud that you could make time. You are at the control room, I know, and you are now ensuring that all our students who are in your train do get back safely, a lot of them from Telangana. So thank you very much, and also thank you to success of Invest India, you have had global applause thanks to your leadership. Thank you once again, Deepak. Really appreciate your time. A big round of applause for him. May I now invite Mr. Jayesh Ranjan to deliver the special address. Over to you, Jayesh.
Thank you. Honorable Minister, Dr. Krishna Ella, Mr. Samir Goel, Mr. Vagish Dikshit, Mr. Jayesh, Mr. Ranganathan, Mr. Bagla, various past chairpersons of CII, senior industry leaders, ladies and gentlemen. This is the time of the year when this annual ritual of leadership change happens in CII. So let me begin by congratulating and complimenting Mr. Goel and his team for their able stewardship during this very difficult times. They have been of enormous help and support to the government. So my personal thanks to you, Samir ji. And at the same time, I would also like to welcome Mr. Vagish Dikshit and his team and look forward to a very exciting partnership in this coming year. This is also the right time for me to mention a few important priorities of the government in which we require deeper commitment and engagement from the CII. Not to suggest that CII has not been forthcoming in these matters, but I would request for much more strong and deeper engagement. The first thing which comes to my mind is, Honorable Minister keeps talking about it, is our young workforce and the people who are on the verge of joining the workforce. Actually, Minister Sir has given a nice term for them. He calls them think force. And that is something which we feel very positive and optimistic about, because the size of the young population in Telangana, their aspirations are very, very strong. But we all have a collective responsibility in ensuring that they are properly skilled and trained. And for the last few years, for the last 4 or 5 years, we have been working with, let us say, the universities, the State Higher Education Council, CII itself, of introducing a very strong program of internships and apprenticeships. We have reached somewhere. It is not to say that we have not made any progress at all, but a lot of ground needs to be covered. And since Mr. Dikshit, you are taking over and you have yourself led from the front when it comes to matters of internship, apprenticeships, etc., I would like this culture to be permeated across all members of CII. And during your tenure, I would like CII actually to give some kind of a commitment or take a pledge that every member company will adopt or will accommodate X number of student interns, X number of apprentices from the nearby ITIs, polytechnics, colleges, universities. And now today, we don't even have to confine ourselves only to the state universities. We have very good private universities also. So even that catchment is available today to the industry to accommodate as interns and apprenticeships. And there are, of course, existing laws, rules, etc. We have also done, just before COVID, I remember we had prepared a very detailed, elaborate map of the catchments, like which colleges, which institutions can be tagged to which industry. So once you settle down, I would like to revive this idea and work again with you. Another very important priority, which Mr. Bagla spoke about, Dr. Krishna Ella also spoke about, is about promoting entrepreneurship. Many of you would know that CII has chosen the headquarters of its National Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation at Hyderabad. It is currently operating from T-Hub, of course, because of the situation over the last 2 years. Its activities have slowed down, but I expect now for them to really take off. And Mr. Chris Gopalakrishnan, who was instrumental in getting that center to Hyderabad, in fact, he was sharing that there was tremendous pressure on him to start that center in Bangalore. Of course, as you know, for very unfair reasons, whenever people think about startup, they automatically think of Bangalore, which, as I personally feel, is extremely unfair. But for various reasons, and since Mr. Gopalakrishnan himself comes from Bangalore, there was tremendous pressure on him. But he recognized that the kind of government support, the ecosystem building that the Telangana government has done, no one else has done, not just in the south, but anywhere in the country. And that is something which Mr. Bagla was also mentioning. He was appreciating the fact that way back in 2016, we came up with a very progressive policy on promoting entrepreneurship, promoting innovation. So the whole purpose of, the whole objective of that CII center is to ensure that every member company adopts some startups and basically provide them that corporate connect, which is very important in validating their idea, which is important in scaling up. Maybe some kind of seed funding also can be made available from the corporate. So that is how the center has been set up. Of course, it is a national center. It's just a coincidence that it is headquartered in Hyderabad. But I remember when we were having early discussions with the CII national team, led by Mr. Gopalakrishna, I had assured him, I told him that corporates in Telangana will be in the forefront. Your vision of all CII members across the country working with startups definitely is a very ambitious vision, but we will be the first in Telangana to make it happen. So I would again request that at least all the corporate members, and this is regardless of size. I know that there are many mid-scale companies, small companies also who are members of CII. There are many service companies also who are members of CII. It is regardless of size. Size has no relevance at all when it comes to supporting startups. And it is not that funds are the only way in which you can support. In fact, your leadership can spend time with them, mentor them, give them ideas about how to scale up, how to get connected to market, how to get into a network. So multiple ways in which startups can be supported. And this is again something which I would request you to really fast track in this coming year. Another very important priority, some of you might have heard Honorable Minister or read about it in the newspapers. Honorable Minister spoke at the Harvard India conference a few days ago, in which he again highlighted how sustainability is a very important part of our economic development. I mean, as the data has been explained by Mr. Bagla, our growth story is phenomenal, but it is not at the cost of sustainability. Every step that we have taken is underlying sustainability. And this is again a third request to CII. Why it's not to say that you haven't been doing it. In fact, we appreciate the kind of support you have given to Harita Haram, and now you are going to give awards also. But there are various other aspects of sustainability. For example, promoting electric mobility, taking care of water bodies. I see Mr. Rajanna here in the audience. In fact, many NASCOM and HYCIA companies have actually gone ahead and adopted water bodies. They have adopted lakes. And today, more than a dozen lakes, particularly in the western part of the city, have been beautified. Their contamination levels have drastically gone down. They have been made very community friendly. But we have not seen too many industries, non-IT companies, taking up these kind of programs. So I would request other CII members also to take up very important sustainability goals that the government has. So apart from the regular support to businesses, to supply chains, to logistics, to MSMEs, which is business as usual for us. We will always be working with CII on all those fronts. But these three important priorities, in my opinion, are foundational. These are fundamental to provide good skills and training to our young workforce, to ensure that entrepreneurs get much more opportunities in Telangana, and to partner with us on all our sustainability agenda. So once again, good wishes to you, Mr. Dikshit, and all the CII members. Let us have a very, very promising and very flourishing year ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jayeshji. Let me just put on behalf, you have been the one point contact for the industry. And really a big round of applause for him. And whatever he says, he makes it happen. Thank you very much. May I now invite CII colleague Satya Aruna to take over, please, for the awards.
Thank you, Chairman. Honorable Minister, Telangana to Harita Haram is one of the excellent initiatives of Government of Telangana, which has paid rich dividends. CII had the privilege of working with the state government. We signed an MOU 6 years back when Mr. Jayesh Ranjan and our chairperson, Ms. Vanitha Datla, signed an MOU. And sir, in the last 6 years, CII members and other stakeholders have planted over 89 lakh saplings in the state. And they have a survival rate of more than 85%, sir. We have very clear evidences of photograph and other details where the saplings you have planted have been growing over a period of time. This year, sir, between August and November 2021, 21 lakhs 46,000 saplings have been planted. And today we would be presenting mementos to 23 organizations who have taken part in this initiative in 2021. We heartily thank all the member companies who have participated in this initiative and request the Honorable Minister to kindly present mementos to these green warriors. May I also request Mr. Jayesh Ranjan and other dignitaries on the dais to kindly join the Minister in giving away the mementos. May I request the awardees to kindly come from my right-hand side, receive the memento from the Honorable Minister, and go out towards my left-hand side, please.
Thank you, sir. So I would be announcing the companies one after the other. You can kindly come and receive the awards. So the first organization to receive the award is ITC Limited Paperboards and Specialty Papers Division. I would request Mr. Sanjay Singh and his team to kindly come and receive the award, please. Yeah. The next team to be ready is Office of NSS JNTUH. I would request ITC team to kindly come and receive the award, please. The next team to be ready, Office of NSS JNTUH, please. The next team to receive the award is Office of NSS JNTUH. I would request Vijay Lakshmi to kindly come and receive the award, please. The next team to be ready is Pragati Green Meadows and Resorts Limited. I would request Pragati Green Meadows and Resorts Limited team to be kindly ready, please. I would request Kanha Shantivanam team to be ready, please. I request Kanha Shantivanam team to kindly come and receive the award, please. I would request Saint Limited team to kindly be ready, please. Saint team to kindly come and receive the award, please. The next team to be ready is Delhi Public School Nacharam. The next team to receive the award is Delhi Public School Nacharam. I would request the principal and the team to kindly come and receive the award, please. The next team to be ready is Alpla India Private Limited, please. I would request Alpla India Private Limited team to kindly come and receive the award, please. The next team to be ready is IIT Hyderabad team. I would request IIT Hyderabad team to kindly come and receive the award, please. IIT Hyderabad team. The next team to be ready is Delhi Public School Nadargul. I invite Delhi Public School Nadargul principal and the team to kindly come and receive the award, please. The next team to be ready is Kendriya Vidyalaya Boinpalli Secunderabad. I would request the principal and the team of Kendriya Vidyalaya Boinpalli Secunderabad to kindly come and receive the award, please. The next team to be ready is Geetham University. I invite the team of Geetham University to kindly come and receive the award, please. The next team to be ready is Parsi Zoroastrian Anjuman of Secunderabad and Hyderabad, please. I invite the team of Parsi Zoroastrian Anjuman of Secunderabad and Hyderabad to kindly come and receive the award, please. The next team to be ready is DDMS AMS Obul Reddy Public School, Jubilee Hills, please. I invite the principal and the team of DDMS AMSP Obul Reddy Public School to kindly come and receive the award, please. The next team to be ready is Delhi Public School, Mahindra Hills. I invite the team of Delhi Public School, Mahindra Hills to kindly come and receive the award, please. The next team to be ready is Pallavi Engineering College, Nagol. I invite the team of Pallavi Engineering College, Nagol to kindly come and receive the award, please. The next team to be ready is Pallavi International School, Gandipet. I invite the team of Pallavi International School, Gandipet to kindly come and receive the award, please. The next team to be ready is Pallavi International School, Kisara. I invite the team of Pallavi International School, Kisara to kindly come and receive the award, please. The next team to be ready is Pallavi International School, Alwal. I invite the team of Pallavi International School, Alwal to kindly come and receive the award, please. The next team to be ready is HSBC Electronic Data Processing Private Limited. I invite the team of HSBC Electronic Data Processing India Private Limited to kindly come and receive the award, please. The next team to be ready is Hyderabad Cyclist Group. I invite the team of Hyderabad Cyclist Group to kindly come and receive the award, please. The next team to be ready is Vedri Township Welfare Association, please. I invite the team of Vedri Township Welfare Association to kindly come and receive the award, please. The next team to be ready is DAV Public School, Safilguda. I invite the principal and other team members of DAV Public School, Safilguda to kindly come and receive the award, please. I invite the CEO, principal and team of Jain Heritage Cambridge School, Kondapur to kindly come and receive the award, please. I invite the team of Jain Heritage Cambridge School, Kondapur to kindly come and receive the award, please. With this, we conclude our Harita Haram Awards. Also, we have Inspiring People Practices Awards. CII Telangana launched the Inspiring People Practices Awards in 2020 to honor organizations in Telangana which have excelled in people practices and are a source of inspiration. The winners for the Inspiring People's Practices Award this year are Tata Consultancy Services for their impressive practices on talent acquisition and onboarding. I invite the team of Tata Consultancy Services to kindly come and receive the award, please. The next award of Inspiring People Practices Award goes to Coromandel International Limited for the exceptional work done in the area of well-being and CSR. I invite the team of Coromandel International Limited to kindly come and receive the award, please. I request all the audience to be kindly seated and the dignitaries also. We conclude this award program and then I hand over this to our chairman, Samir Goel. Thank you.
Yeah, can we please settle down quickly? So thank you everyone. Thanks, congratulations to all the awardees. Please continue to do the good work. Now it's my honor and privilege to invite our beloved and honorable minister, Shri KTR Rama Garu, to deliver the address. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Samirji. Thank you to the entire team of the Confederation of Indian Industry. Now I've actually understood the success of attendance in a CII meeting. Need I say more? I don't know. Meer awards baga ichesi andarni pilchesi. You're making sure that the entire room is packed. So Samir, lovely strategy. I'll follow this in future. Congratulations on completing your term, and Vagish, congratulations on assuming the mantle of chairmanship of CII Telangana. Good luck to you. Jayesh Ranjan Garu, Dr. Krishna Ella. ఇప్పుడు మీకు ముందు ఖచ్చితంగా పిలిచేటప్పుడు పద్మశ్రీ పద్మభూషణ్ అవన్నీ చెప్పాలా? చెప్పకుండా నడుస్తుందా? డాక్టర్ కృష్ణ I wouldn't say that. I'll say our dear friend who's made all of us proud. I think he deserves a big round of applause. Krishna, I don't think there's a single person in this room who's not thought of you in the last couple of years at some point of time. Krishna phone cheste vaccine ఏమైనా తొందరగా దొరుకుతుందా, పిల్లలకి ఏమైనా వ్యాక్సిన్ ఇచ్చేయచ్చా, లేదా ఏదో రకంగా కృష్ణతో మాట్లాడి మా స్టేట్కి కొన్ని ఎక్కువ వ్యాక్సిన్లు తీసుకోవచ్చా. I think everybody has gone through that. So you, Suchitra, I'm sure your entire team, Sai and everybody, must have been bombarded with calls. But thank you for supporting all of us. Thank you for helping us tide through this pandemic. Deepak ji, thank you for staying on. मुझे लगा कि गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया नॉर्मली बोलता है निकल जाता है, बट आप यहाँ पे हैं. आप तो हमारे दोस्त हो, इसीलिए बहुत सारे अच्छे शब्द आपने कहा, बहुत तारीफ आपने की. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, आपका बहुत बहुत आभारी हूँ और उम्मीद करता हूँ कि आपका सपोर्ट ऐसे ही रहेगा और आगे जाकर भी आपका सहयोग ऐसे ही मिलता रहेगा. Mr. Ranganathan, and thank you, sir, for also staying on, the Southern Region's chairman. Ladies and gentlemen, today, in fact, as I've just mentioned, is the opportune time of the new team of CII in Telangana taking over from the past team. The baton is being, passed on to Vagish today. But incidentally also, today marks the second anniversary of the first COVID case in Telangana. Exactly on the 2nd of March in 2020, we had the first case in Telangana. So एकदम सही टाइम चुना आपने. समीर को बाहर भेज के आप नया चार्ज ले रहे हो जब थोड़ा माहौल बेहतर है. वागिश इज अ स्मार्ट मैन, वी ऑल नो. इसीलिए जो बुरा वक्त था, थोड़ा मुश्किल वक्त था, तो समीर को दे दिया. Because Samir is related to Piyush Goyal, as you know. Samir Goyal is related to Piyush Goyal. इसीलिए एक साल पूरा उनको दे दिया. अभी थोड़ा बेहतर हो गया तो वागीश आ गया आगे. And one thing I would like to say before in fact, I was just debating because I have this written speech, but then I saw Krishna speaking. He said, I speak from the heart and I'm not going to stick to my written speech, etc. So I am also inspired. Krishna, I'm taking a leaf out of your book. I'm also going to be talking, possibly without looking at the paper. The theme of today's event is India at 75 and catalyzing change for new India. Because India, after independence, will be 75, I think in August this year. 47 is the independence, so 2022, 75 years. So I think one of the things I would like to start off by mentioning is about, क्योंकि हम लोग अभी स्टार्टअप्स के बारे में बहुत सुनते हैं. स्टार्टअप्स के बगैर आजकल तो एक न्यूज़पेपर में एक दिन भी कोई ना कोई आर्टिकल तो छापता ही है हर दिन. Every day there is a news about some startup becoming a sunicorn or unicorn or decacorn or whatever other corns there are, sweet corns, I don't know. There are a bunch of things that keep popping up every so often. So let me talk about the most successful startup in 75 years of independent India. That is the state of Telangana. And the reason why I say this is not because I represent the government of Telangana, but because the numbers actually speak for themselves. 7 years ago, my friend Sarita, who's sitting here, 7.5 years ago, who's a captain of the industry, had hosted a dinner, or we had met at a dinner where almost 100 or 150 businessmen and women were present. So she, as a son of the soil, as a daughter of the soil, asked me a pointed question. This was not when the TRS had won the mandate. This was much before. No, you were right in asking. About 8 years ago, I think it was. This was at a friend's place. We had all met for dinner, about 100, 150 of us. People who were concerned, people who were worried, people who were anxious as to what would happen when the bill would get passed in the parliament and when the new state of Telangana would come into being. Sarita being Sarita, for those of you who know, she doesn't hesitate to speak her mind. So she asked me point blank onto my face. She said, तुम लोग लड़ तो रहे हो तेलंगाना के लिए, but what is it that you guys are trying to accomplish by dividing Telugus? तुम लोग क्या करना क्या चाह रहे हो? This is what she said. So I told her, listen, this is actually for the benefit of the people of both Telugu-speaking states eventually. This would help all of us. This would expedite development. This would bring more prosperity. This would spread, in fact, infrastructure growth in all pockets as opposed to, concentrated development in certain pockets, etc., etc. Of course, she was not convinced. But today I'm going to possibly talk about, now you're convinced. Thank you, Sarita. So today I'm going to tell you why you should possibly be convinced. In exactly 7.5 years in Telangana, when we started our journey, I'll just give you 3 numbers. The first thing is our per capita income. When we started our journey in 2014 in June, 2nd of June 2014, the per capita income of the state of Telangana was 1,24,000 rupees. And today, 7.5 years later, and this is not me, these numbers are not mine. These numbers are of the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, Government of India. According to them, the per capita income of Telangana today is 2,78,000 rupees. A growth of 125% from 1,24,000 to 2,78,000 rupees. And the other number I'll share with you. The GSDP, the size of the GSDP, the gross state domestic product, back in 2014 June, was 5 lakh crores, Telangana, 4.9 lakh crores to be precise. And today, again, according to Government of India statistics, the current GSDP size of the state of Telangana is 11.54 lakh crores, 130% growth. This goes to show you how the state has been able to do exceedingly well in terms of all indicators. The other interesting statistic I would like to put forward, and I have to correct Mr. Bagla here. Mr. Bagla said, Deepak ji, आपने कहा कि हम लोग छठे हैं rank में, contribution towards Indian economy. Sir, RBI would like to differ, not me. The Reserve Bank of India has released a report, a book of statistics in October 2021, and they have clearly stated that Telangana is the 4th largest contributor to Indian economy. We are 11th largest in terms of geographical size. We are 12th largest in terms of population, but we are the 4th largest in terms of contribution. Ahead of us are 3 very large states: West Bengal, Karnataka, and I think Maharashtra. So I would like to correct you there, sir. And this is not me again, Reserve Bank of India. In fact, just to put things in perspective, our population in India as a state is 2.5%. But our contribution to GDP of India is 5%. So that is literally Telangana punching above its weight. Double the size, in fact. So that goes to show you why I call Telangana the most successful startup of independent India. Our Honorable Chief Minister, in fact, is a firm believer, Shri KTR Garu is a firm believer in getting the basics right, in getting the fundamentals right. While, it's easy to talk about emerging technologies, it's fanciful to talk about all the cool things that are happening all over the world, the hyperloops and other things of the world. It's easy, it's all nice talk, but I think a country like India, which is still a developing nation, should get its basics sorted. So therefore, when we started our journey, we went with the 3I mantra: innovation, infrastructure, inclusive growth. That's exactly what we focused on in the last 7.5 years. Now, what do I mean by innovation? Innovation in today's world is often misconstrued as being, disruption in the technology area, startups, etc., etc. But innovation can happen on many, many fronts. I was amused to hear Krishna when he said big companies cannot innovate. I beg to differ, Krishna. In fact, even big companies, can innovate, should innovate if they have to, they want to sustain, if they want to remain around. Because otherwise, you lose your edge, you basically lose your mojo, and you are gone in no time. Because if you think about it, 20 years back, Yahoo was a big name. Today not, and I think each of us in this room, or most of us in this room, the younger lot may not remember that, but most of us in this room had a Yahoo account. I did too. Now I don't even remember my password, because I don't use it anymore. It's lost its relevance, and now we have so many other things that have come up and so many other things that have just, eclipsed Yahoo and other behemoths of the early 2000s. That's the point I'm trying to make. Unless you reinvent yourself, unless you rediscover yourself, unless you reorient yourself to the changing times, changing demands, changing markets, any big company would not survive. The fact that GSK, the fact that all the big companies of the world still continue to be relevant in spite of the onslaught from Krishna Ella and his team means that they are doing something right. If not everything, they must be doing something right. The point I'm trying to make is invention, innovation is not confined to startups or technology alone. Even government should innovate. And that's exactly what we have done with our policy making. Mr. Bagla just spoke about how Telangana's industrial policies leagues ahead of anybody else. That is because our Honorable Chief Minister in this very room sat for 7 hours with the industry bodies, tried to understand in the very initial days of government. He said, let me sit with you, understand the pain points. Let me understand how I can make a difference. And in 2014, July I think it was, there was a meeting held in this room. And by 2014 November, Telangana came out with its first legislation. That is the Telangana State Industrial Project Approval Self-Certification System, the TS-IPAS. Now it's like the easy pass, that you would run into in the US. TS-IPAS has been extremely successful. And in case you're wondering, how do you say something successful? We have given out more than 18,000 clearances. We've been able to attract more than 2.3 lakh crores of investment. And we've been able to create a direct job potential of 1.6 million jobs. This is something that is truly amazing for a new state in India. And this growth, the numbers that I just reeled out, is all despite several things. It's despite the bifurcation blues, because the new state has to settle in. There are still issues to be tackled with the other state, with our brother state, or sister state, as you would like to call it. We have still some issues to settle. The bifurcation blues are still, in some areas at least, they're still there. This is despite the fact that there was demonetization, which affected all of us, which affected the growth of states, districts, countries, the entire country as such, industries also. And this despite the pandemic. 2 years of pandemic, and still Telangana, in fact, as was pointed out by Mr. Bagla, even if you look at an average, it's more than 13%. And if this same growth trajectory continues, then we would certainly be at that magical $470 billion or $500 billion, I think he was referring to. We'd be there by 2030. which is a humongous contribution to India's economy, if you ask me. Innovation was not confined to industrial clearances alone. Innovation was also brought in other spheres of life, such as municipal administration. You know, how we give clearances to the industries in 15 days, and if you do not deliver in the 15-day window, how it is a deemed approval on the 16th day, was also replicated by municipal department. We asked the municipal department also to study how building permissions are given. So today in Telangana, I proudly say as Minister for Urban Development, we are the only state which can promise clearances in 21 days for any layout or a building approval. If we don't deliver on the 21-day window, on the 22nd day, without you having to meet any official, it's a deemed approval. In fact, for plots of less than 500 square meters, the approval is instant. It's self-certification. No state in India will tell you this. So this is the sort of innovation Telangana has made. Innovation in Panchayati Raj and rural development. The new act that we brought in for village development is something truly unique. I don't think there is any state in the country which said 10% of the budget from the village Panchayati or the municipal body has to be earmarked for greenery. 10% of your budget is green budget. And the new act also espouses, also makes it very, very clear that the village sarpanch or the municipal councillor or the municipal chairperson or the panchayati secretary can lose their job and will lose their job if they do not ensure 85% survival of the plants that have been planted in their respective domains. I don't think any government in India has done this. Now that is the innovation I'm talking about. Innovation does not have to confine itself to cool technologies. Innovation is about impacting the society in a positive way. And that's what I'm saying. Governments can innovate, others also can innovate. And when I say the 3I mantra, innovation, infrastructure is the second I. On the infrastructure front, why Telangana has grown is because we have spent lots of money. We spent extensive money on ramping up our infrastructure. We were a power deficit state when we started our journey. We had an installed capacity of 7,000 megawatts. Today our installed capacity of power is more than 16,000 megawatts and more than doubled in the last 7.5 years. We spent lots of money on that. That is why Telangana is able to provide quality power supply to industry, to households, and also to agriculture. We are the only state in the country, in fact, that provides 24/7 free power to small and marginal farmers. Again, you would not hear this from any other state in India. Infrastructure not only in power, drinking water. We are the only state in the country which had completed, a project which had, the laying of 140,000 kilometers of pipeline. A project called as Mission Bhagirath, which is aimed at providing a portable drinking water connection to each and every one of the 10 million homes, 1 crore households in Telangana. A unique project where we spent nearly $7 billion has been completed, and today Government of India has drawn inspiration from us and has started what is called as Har Ghar Jal, a new program which they are asking other states also to emulate. Infrastructure is not, again, only on power and drinking water, but also in irrigation. I don't know how many of you in this room know this. The world's largest lift irrigation project, the world's largest, not India's largest, the world's largest lift irrigation project has been conceptualized and has been completed by the government of Telangana in less than 4 years of time. Now, we often talk about Chinese execution. We often talk about how things move fast in China. But the new state of Telangana, the youngest state in India, has shown to the rest of the country how well things can happen, things can move, provided the political will and collective efforts of the bureaucracy and engineering department are showcased. You would be surprised, we are lifting water, Godavari, from about 82 meters above sea level to 612 meters above sea level to near Hyderabad through a multi-stage lift irrigation program. And we are engaging some of the biggest pumps in the world, pump sets in the world, 137 megawatts of pumps each, with about, I think, 6 or 7 running in tandem to lift water from such a long distance. This is, again, a very, very unique kind of a model that Telangana has been able to champion. For those of you who are wondering, what about the third I? Innovation is good, infrastructure is fine. What about inclusive growth? Telangana has shown this country that inclusive growth can be showcased. While we focused on industrial growth, we did not let down our agriculture potential. Today, I'm proud to share with you, agriculture's contribution to the GSDP back in 2013 was 16%. Today, in 2021, our agriculture contribution to the state's GSDP has increased by 5% to 21%, which is humongous. 5% increase is not easy. And I can assure you of one thing, Dr. Krishnayala said, if there is a next pandemic, it is likely to be on the animal side affecting our food security. I can confidently say this. No matter what happens in the rest of India, Telangana will not only be secure with its agriculture produce, we will be able to support other states in the country if that happens. I hope it does not happen, but we will certainly be there to the rescue of the rest of the country as well. The reason why I say this is because our agriculture produce has increased so much that even Food Corporation of India, उन्होंने भी हाथ उठा दिया, बोला कि हम प्रोक्योर नहीं कर सकते हैं आपके साथ, इतना ज़्यादा आ रहा है, इतना ज़्यादा पैडी आ रहा है प्रोड्यूस आपसे, तो हम नहीं खरीद सकते हैं आपसे. That is the level of increase in agriculture produce that Telangana has been able to showcase. You know, at one point of time, Punjab was called the granary of India. But today, proud to share with you, Telangana is that granary. We have replaced Punjab and we are the granary to the rest of India. The point I'm trying to make, gentlemen and ladies, is that while Telangana continued to grow industrially at 13% or more, our agriculture produce also, because we focused on agri, but we did not let down our farmers. We came out with innovative schemes. I talked about innovation. Our Honorable Chief Minister came out with a program, Farm Input Subsidy, called as Raitu Bandhu. 75 years of Indian independence, no other leader, no Chief Minister, no Prime Minister thought about it, of doing a direct benefit transfer to our farmers. We are the first state in India, in independent India, to have come out with a policy where the farmers have been given 5,000 rupees per crop. And for 2 crops, we are giving them 10,000 rupees per acre every year. And the kind of money that is being spent is about 15,000 crores per annum to about going to about 62 lakh farmers in the state of Telangana. This has again inspired Government of India to launch what is called as PM Kisan. So innovation need not be confined to certain areas. The other thing I also wanted to mention, while Telangana continued to grow industrially, we also ensured that environment was not affected. Proud to share with you, just a couple of days ago, the entire country's Indian Forest Service officers were in this very room. I was here talking to them. The entire country's principal chief conservators of every state was here. And they were telling us that Telangana today ranks number 1 according to Forest Survey in terms of increasing the green cover. Our green cover increased from 24% to 31.7% in the last 7.5 years. Our industry continued to grow, but our green quotient also continued to grow. So that goes to show you, inclusive growth can happen. Industry and greening can go together. Industry and environment can prosper together. Agriculture and IT can prosper together. Aerospace and also other sectors, social welfare, can also travel together. And we can continue to do a fine balancing act. And that is where Telangana sets a benchmark and sets an example for the rest of the country. Now, I can go on about Telangana. It's my fiduciary responsibility. I do believe that the country has to do well. We also have to look at what else needs to be done in the rest of the country. One of the things, and please don't think I'm being critical, Mr. Bagla, but I would like to point out certain things because Pradhan Mantri ji ने बुलाया था एक मीटिंग 2019 में, जून में, और उन्होंने बहुत सारे पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज को बुलाया जिसमें मैं भी गया था एज अ पार्टी प्रेसिडेंट. तो वहाँ पे जाने के बाद उन्होंने पूछा, आज़ादी का 75 साल होने वाला है और बापू का 150th एनिवर्सरी भी आ रहा है, तो एक नया भारत खड़े करने के लिए क्या करना चाहिए. तो मैंने यही चीज़ बताया उनको, मैं वही चीज़ आपके सामने भी दोहराना चाहता हूँ, वही चीज़ मैं रिपीट करना चाहता हूँ. तो मैंने कहा उस दिन उनसे कि इंडिया नीड्स टू थिंक ऑन स्केल. इंडिया कैन नॉट बी thinking still as a developing country. The one point I'd like to make on this. For those of you who know, you would appreciate it. For those of you who do not, I would request you to think about it. In 1987, India and China, the country who we'd love talking about, India and China, our GDPs were similar in 1987. This is not so long ago, only 35 years ago. But today, 35 years later, Our GDP is 2.4 trillion. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Bagla, but I think it's at about 2.4, 2.5 trillion. And China is $16 trillion. They're more than 5 times bigger, 5.78 I think it is. What happened? How did they surge ahead? Why are we left behind? Similar countries, similar size, geographically, population-wise, thoda idhar udhar, but we're almost there. How come they are at 16 trillion? We are at 2.4, 2.5 trillion. What happened? I think we need to ask ourselves a few questions. You know, we keep reading news and I'm thrilled. Mr. Bagla said, you know, we've been able to attract investments, a lot of FDI into the country, 30 states and union territories, you know, diversified, have received investments, have received FDI. Yes, we are growing without a question. We are looking good, but are we doing enough to compete with a country like China? I don't think so. The reason why I say this is when the pandemic hit us, you can ask Krishna, you can ask any of the biotech captains, you can ask the vaccine makers, you can ask the pharmaceutical companies, who were we dependent on for APIs? Where was all the dependence? If China had shut shop, if China had said no, what would have happened? I think our industry would have suffered a great deal. Today, we see news every single day. Automakers are not able to produce to demand. Maruti, Suzuki has scaled down, Toyota has scaled down, many other car makers and automakers have scaled down. Why? Because of shortage of chips. 75 years. While a small country like Taiwan is able to create multiple fabs, while a small country like Singapore is able to create multiple fabs, a large country like India, one of the largest economies of the world, how come we were not able to create a fab of our own? How come we are dependent on Taiwan and Singapore and others for chips 75 years after? How come we couldn't actually do much on that account in spite of several attempts that have been made? I know there is an attempt being made even now as we speak. Some PLI scheme, $10 billion of commitment, etc. I'm not trying to be negative. I'm not trying to be critical. I'm just trying to point out two statistics. One of the largest employers of this country, especially for blue-collar workers, is textile industry. Today, China produces nearly 34 to 40% of world textiles. Next time you are buying a shirt at Van Heusen or Allen Solly or some other place, there's a 40% chance that it could have been made in China. There is an 8% chance it could have been made in Bangladesh. There's a 7% chance it could have been made in Sri Lanka. What are the chances that it could have been made in India? A 4% chance. We only account to 4% of textile and apparel production of the world. With such a large think force, such a large workforce, and a sector that has the potential to employ millions of people, why are we lagging behind Bangladesh and Sri Lanka? Question that we need to ask ourselves. Can we not have these centers through a textile policy, apparel policy, have centers running in the tier 2, tier 3 towns or even smaller towns in the hinterland? Can we not have them in Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Bihar, and all these states that continue to hold us back in terms of our growth? Today I proudly say my state is doing well. But I also feel as an Indian, I feel sad when I look at Uttar Pradesh. They're lagging behind. There are 22 crore people in Uttar Pradesh. What is their contribution to GDP? 15%. We have 4 crore, we contribute 5%. Uttar Pradesh is 22 crore, they contribute 15%. Why? Because of our strategic inability to come out with innovations, our strategic inability to actually rethink our own selves. When the pandemic hit us, back in 2020, April, we had a meeting of all the medical device manufacturers in Hyderabad. I had a very interesting conversation. Mr. Piyush Goyal was there and this was a closed door meeting. So हम लोग बात कर रहे थे, तब PPE बहुत बड़ा एक मसला था, बहुत बड़ा समस्या था. हर कोई PPE चाहता था. Because Corona had just hit us, we don't know what hit us and everybody was worried. The staff was worried, the medical fraternity was worried. The doctors, the nurses, they were not wanting to go to a Corona patient without a protection equipment. I had a chat with one of the medical device manufacturers. So I asked him, I said, "Aap gloves kahan se late ho? Gloves kahan se late ho? Mask kahan se late ho? PPE kahan se late ho?" He said, "I bring it from China." But I said, Wuhan, the entire virus, they are badly affected. So supply chain would also be affected. How are you going to continue to ensure that we receive supplies in time? That gentleman said, sir, it's a sorry state of affairs, but it actually, agar main yahan produce karta hu, yahan manufacture karta hu India mein, it is more expensive than if I import from China. Now we should be asking ourselves that question. I request CII, you're a neutral platform. See, if I say this, Government of India will think since I am politically not aligned with them, I criticize kar raha hu. You're an industry body. What stops you from asking Government of India this fundamental question? कि ऐसा क्यों है कि हम कोई यहां पे मैन्युफैक्चर करते हैं वो ज्यादा कॉस्टली हो जाता है, जबकि हम लोग अगर इंपोर्ट करते हैं वो तो चीप बनता है? ये क्या लॉजिक है? एक तरफ बात करते हैं सेल्फ रिलायंट इंडिया की, आत्मनिर्भर भारत की, और दूसरी तरफ हमारे पॉलिसीज इतने फ्लॉड है कि यहां बनाना चाहते भी हैं हम तो बहुत ज्यादा एक्सपेंसिव है. इट मेक्स यू uncompetitive cost wise. So how will you survive in this environment? Any hospital will not procure from you. Simple, because you're economy wise, in terms of cost competitiveness, you're just not there. So these are the questions, these are the fundamental changes we need to be making in our country. We have a huge coastline of more than 8,000 kilometers. How is it that our sea trade, our maritime trade, is less than that of Singapore, a small island nation? The number of containers that are handled by Singapore port are much higher than all the container load that is handled by all of our ports put together. Is it not a matter of shame? The number of transshipments handled by Colombo port is actually much more than that of our top 4 seaports. Is it not a matter of shame that we can't even make our ports transshipment hubs in spite of being such a large country? I don't even want to talk about our highways and highway speeds and truck movements and truck speeds, etc., etc. The point I'm trying to make is, it's good to have ideas and slogans. Make in India, great slogan. But we need to back it up with reforms and policy. We need to actually have a solid policy backup saying, yes, make in India, don't just assemble in India. Agar if you make in India, you're competing with large manufacturing countries like China. When will that happen? How will that happen? Unless you think on scale. I've been requesting Government of India कि अगर आपको चाइना के साथ मुकाबला करना ही है, we've been saying this for the last 4 years, 5 years, you need to think on scale. China has these large industrial parks, 70,000 acres, 50,000 acres. There's a place called Shizhou. There's an industrial park in 70,000 acres. Why is size important? Because it brings about economies of scale. It reduces the cost of production. What is the biggest industrial park in India? What is our size? Today, Telangana is conceptualizing a pharma city which is in about 14,000 acres. Even for that to happen, it's a huge, humongous task. We have already created and set up India's largest textile park in Warangal in about 1250 acres of land. And we've been asking Government of India to support us. कि कुछ support करो, अगर कोई राज कुछ करना चाहता है. पहले तो policy paralysis है, दिल्ली में सुनते नहीं है. उनको जैसा दीपक जी ने कहा, ग्रोथ आ रहा है. मैं ये नहीं कहता कि ग्रोथ नहीं आ रहा है, बट दैट इज हैपनिंग बाय डिफॉल्ट. आई एम सॉरी. हम लोग कोशिश कर रहे हैं, सब लोग कोशिश कर रहे हैं, हर राज्य कोशिश कर रहा है, इन्वेस्ट इंडिया कोशिश कर रहा है, इन्वेस्टमेंट आ रहा है, ऐसा नहीं कि नहीं आ रहा है, बट जितना आना चाहिए, जितना होना चाहिए, उतना नहीं हो रहा है. जितना तेजी से पॉलिसी बनना चाहिए, वो नहीं हो रहा है. एंड आई एम सॉरी टू से दिस, बट इट इज अ फैक्ट. वी टॉक अबाउट सो मेनी अदर थिंग्स, सेल्फ रिलायंट इंडिया, गुड. But what is stopping us? See, today we are in the middle of a war. We're witnessing a war, Russia and Ukraine. And I'm sure many Indians have also thought of this, and so have I. What happens if something very similar happens to India? Are we ready, defense-wise? What is our, position on making our own missiles, our own, defense systems and ammunition, etc., etc.? There was a time about 2 years ago when Government of India was conceptualizing what is called as a defense industrial production corridor. I went to the Minister, Commerce and Defense, both, requested them. I said, ma'am, this was Nirmala ji then. I went to her and I said, ma'am, the most logical destination for this to be in India, because of the existing ecosystem, nothing else, nothing more, is between Hyderabad and Bangalore, because Hyderabad has large number of defense PSUs and so does Bangalore. So it would make a great deal of sense to have this defense industrial production corridor between these two large cities, and it will actually hit the ground running, so to speak. She said, no, but the decision is already made. I said, on what basis and where? She said, the decision is made, it would be in Bundelkhand. I said, what is in Bundelkhand? I want Uttar Pradesh to grow. But Uttar Pradesh or Bundelkhand, will it be able to attract a Lockheed Martin? Will it be able to invite, a Sikorsky? Or will it be able to invite some of these large aerospace companies and, give them the confidence that you can hit the ground running? She said, no, the decision is made. The point I'm trying to make is if you really want India to prosper, India to grow, support the current ecosystem, support the growing ecosystem, support the states which are doing well. I am all for supporting UP, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan. I have nothing against them. They are, of course, my sister states in India. I want them to grow. I want them to contribute to my country. I want my country to be a first world country. But our policy making has to be in sync with what we have. We have to play to our strengths. We cannot say क्योंकि उत्तर प्रदेश में 80 लोकसभा सीट हैं तो हम वहीं पे कुछ लगाएंगे, क्योंकि तेलंगाना में 17 है, हम यहाँ नहीं करेंगे, और उत्तर प्रदेश में योगी जी हैं, उपयोगी हैं भारत सरकार के लिए, तो वहाँ लगाएंगे, और तेलंगाना में केसीआर है जो कि हमारे लिए उपयोगी नहीं है, तो यहाँ नहीं लगाएंगे. बट तेलंगाना भी तो आप ही का भारत का हिस्सा है. तेलंगाना कोई दूसरे देश में थोड़ी है ना. ये मैं एक इंस्टेंस की बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ, काफी सारे इंस्टेंस हैं मैं जो कोट कर सकता हूँ, बट नहीं करना चाह रहा हूँ. I would also let you know, Mr. Bagla, that the whole Atmanirbhar Bharat package, that 20 lakh crore economic stimulus, अभी जितने मेरे सामने यहाँ पे बहुत सारे बिजनेस लीडर्स बैठे हुए हैं, मैं बहुत कॉन्फिडेंटली कह सकता हूँ मिस्टर बागला कि 20 लाख करोड़ की जो इकोनॉमिक स्टिमुलस की बात की गई, it has been a huge disappointment, sir. I'm sorry to say this, but it has not worked. It has not helped our MSMEs. Lakhs of MSMEs have shut shop in the last couple of years. I think now is the time to introspect, to think forward, to think ahead, come out with a very realistic strategy, and not just numbers and figures which just look good on the paper. My humble submission to the CII is, if I speak and if I make a point, it will be misconstrued and it will be reported as political criticism. It will be looked at as criticism from the opposition benches. But a neutral body, a body which has, I'm sure, members of all hues and shades of all political affiliations in its organization, such as the Confederation of Indian Industry, if you espouse the cause of India, if you espouse the cause of how India needs to grow, India, does not have the luxury of leapfrogging. India needs to pole vault. India does not have the luxury at 75 of abhi bhi leapfrog karenge nahi. You need to really pole vault. You need to really jump ahead, and you need to really be able to grab the opportunity. China se bahut log nikalna chahte hain bahar. Everybody is talking about China +1 or complete exit of China strategy. I will not name names, Mr. Bagla, but I'll tell you one thing. There was a large aerospace and defense company that came to me and that said, sir, हम लोग चाइना से निकल के बाहर आना चाहते हैं, इंडिया में लगाना चाहते हैं बेस अपना. But क्या करें हम लोग? Government of India is arm twisting us and telling us to go to Bundelkhand. I don't want to go there. I want to come to Hyderabad. What do I do? So I could not have said, what do? I can't do much there also. But unfortunately, that is the matter. If a company is not getting response, if an investor is not getting response, practicality, then they will go elsewhere. They'll go to Indonesia, they'll go to Malaysia. India is not the only option, Our competition as Hyderabad is not with Bangalore. Hyderabad is not competing with Bangalore or Delhi or any other state. Sir, Telangana today is competing with Malaysia, Indonesia. We are competing with Vietnam to attract electronics, textiles, etc., etc. So we cannot be looking at things, putting our blinders on and saying कि हम लोग उत्तर प्रदेश आएंगे तो यहाँ पे करवाएंगे आपसे काम, वरना नहीं करवाएंगे. इंडिया में आपको मौका कहीं और नहीं देंगे. My request to CII also is please be bold, reach out to the powers to be in Delhi. आप उनसे झगड़ा करो, लड़ो और पूछो उनसे, डिमांड करो, क्योंकि इलेक्शन भी ज़्यादा दूर नहीं है, आप शायद सुनेंगे थोड़ा, तो आगे जाके बात करना पड़ेगा. एक आदमी ऐसे थे जो आपके CII में थे, थोड़े दमदार थे, बोलते थे, राहुल बजाज. बदनसीबी है कि वो गुजर गए, अभी वो नहीं रहे हमारे बीच. He was the man who used to speak his mind. I remember meeting him several times in Davos. He was not afraid of speaking his mind to union ministers and government. बहुत लोग डरते हैं आप में से लोग. मुझे याद है एक इंस्टेंस, हमारा यहाँ पे ग्लोबल एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप समिट हो रहा था, तो फलकनुमा में हम लोग डिनर दे रहे थे। अब नाम तो नहीं लूंगा मैं, उनकी बदनामी हो जाएगी। तो हम लोग इंतजार कर रहे थे वहाँ पे प्रधानमंत्री की और चीफ मिनिस्टर की। तो बॉम्बे से एक इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट आए थे यहाँ पे, उनका फ्लाइट खड़ा हुआ था शमशाबाद में, फलकनुमा में डिनर करके उनको जाके अपना फ्लाइट में जाना था। तो वो कह रहे थे कि भाई मैंने तो सोचा कि 9:30-10 बजे तक हो जाएगा डिनर, तो मैं वापस जाऊंगा 11 बजे तक। आई हैव इन्वाइटेड सम गेस्ट एट होम। तो मैंने कहा ठीक है निकल जाओ, बहुत सारे लोग हैं यहाँ पे, मैं बोल दूंगा उनको कि आपको जाना था, जल्दी था, वो लोग लेट हो रहे हैं तो आप चले जाओ। ही गेव मी अ डर्टी लुक, सिर्फ तुम्हें पता है क्या होगा अगर मैं चला जाऊंगा तो। सो ये माहौल अच्छा नहीं है, डर के काम करना अच्छा नहीं है। दोस्ती के साथ काम करो, प्रेम के साथ काम करो, मोहब्बत के साथ काम करो, इंडस्ट्री के साथ। एंड आई थिंक द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग, I was feeling a bit sheepish also when Dr. Krishna Ella kept saying, the government here does not interfere. Apparently that has become a compliment also. We are supposed to be enablers, Krishna. If anything, apparently it has become a compliment. Being unobtrusive also has become a compliment. It's a matter of collective shame. If governments today are being complimented for being unobtrusive and not harassing you, it's a matter of shame. If anything, we should be complimented for doing more, for being enablers, for creating infra, for making conducive policies. Hey, all of which I have done, we have done. So please also compliment us for that. And more importantly, for being unobtrusive and not being in your hair and, poking our nose where it does not belong. So I request the new incoming team of Vagish Dikshit from CII Telangana, you will please lead your southern chapter, the rest of the country. You please go meet Mr. Bagla on the practicality of my suggestions, on any input that may or may not, be taken seriously by coming from me, but I think it will be taken far more seriously if it comes from CII. So good luck to the entire Confederation of Indian Industry, particularly to the chapter of Telangana. Thank you one and all.
So thank you, sir. It's always a pleasure to listen to your address. The leadership that Telangana really transformed over the last 8 years is testimony to that. And Telangana is becoming a model state. A big round of applause to them. Can we give him a standing ovation? Please. Thank you. Okay, not an issue. Over to you, Vageshi. Thank you.
Honorable and our beloved Minister, Shri KT Ramarao Garu, dear Shri Jayesh Ranjan, Principal Secretary, Industries and Commerce, Shri Deepak Bagla ji, Shri CEO Invest India, Shri C.K. Ranganathan ji, Chairman CII Southern Region, from the CII Telangana platform, addressing for the first time, sir, you as Padma Bhushan, Shri Dr. Krishna Ella Garu, Shri Samir Goyal ji, our Chairman, CII Telangana, dignitaries, officials, Government of India, of the